What is up, Wizards fans? Welcome to another Believe in Wizards podcast. I'm Modderno. He's Jahadi White, and the Wizards are 6-31. There's only so much we could say about that, but there's been some recent news here with the team, so we're going to get into the whole Ryan Rollins situation and all this kind of stuff. But before we get going, Jahadi, how are you? How's things? How's life? What's new?
Everything's good, man. A little bit under the weather, but that's how things go sometimes. The weather's changing. It's a lot of things floating in the air out here these days. So, you're bound to catch something. But I'm on the bottom half of it, so I'm okay.
It just seems like everybody's been knocked out by this thing. At least here on the East Coast, everybody I know has been sick at some point in the last month. So it's just I don't know. It's a
going
nationwide
around.
Epidemic, unfortunately. Hopefully not a pandemic, but yeah, hope you feel better soon. And yeah, it's just one of those years. I think the Wizards are down, energy levels down a little bit, and now there's some other troubling news here with the team. We'll get into. Before we hit that, just a couple words from our sponsors. Brought to you by Stateside Vodka and their Surfside hard iced teas, hard lemonades, hard everything. They're all delicious. And also brought to you by BetOnline. It's your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, matchup reports for baseball, boxing, UFC, golf, NBA, NFL, everything you want. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. You can head to the website and use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for 50% off on your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, let's get the unfun stuff out of the way here. Last week, the Wizards announced that they were waiving young guard Ryan Rollins, and I think that shocked a lot of us. I'm certainly surprised by it. If they were going to get rid of one of the young guys, like Patrick Baldwin Jr. has looked a little less impressive, and honestly, you have some older vets on the team that you could probably buy out. So it was one of those there had to be more to it kind of things, and then they immediately announced after they were filling the open roster spot with Hamidou Diallo on a 10-day contract. So then I thought, well, maybe they just love Diallo that much. He came over from OKC, was his last stop where he's with Will Dawkins. So maybe I thought they just wanted to make room for their boy. Since then, it has come out that Ryan Rollins was, this is a great reporting by Josh Robbins at The Athletic. Want to make sure we give him credit there. I'll put the link to his article in the description. If anyone hasn't read the whole thing, go back and do that. But essentially, according to the reporting from The Athletic, Rollins over the course of September through November has been caught stealing several different times from a Target in Alexandria while he was still on the Wizards roster. He's charged with 7 counts of petty larceny, and the items alleged to have been stolen in each incident are valued under $1,000. If it's over $1,000, it becomes grand larceny. This is like the lowest level misdemeanor while it's of the petty variety, but I don't know. You got to be down pretty bad or need some real help in life, I think, if you're shoplifting from a Target. Jahadi, I don't know. It's just this is weird. You played in the league for a long time. You know a lot of NBA guys. You ever see anything like this? I can't remember one of these situations specifically where a guy making $2 million felt the need to just shoplift for the hell of it.
No, that's something that you don't see a lot, right? It's just
Right.
It's 7 times, I mean, what to me that has nothing to do with the NBA. That's an issue. And that's a personal issue of just something that's because you didn't have to do it. And to me, we making $2 million in 1 year.
Yeah.
Even if you blew through most of it, you don't have to steal small items like that. So to me, that's something that's part of kind of his makeup that happened long ago. This is something he can't help himself from doing. Yep. And as an organization, that can only get worse. My biggest question is, when did they find out? Because how did they find out he did it 7 times? Like, did they find out the first time, then the second time they said, okay, he did it again? Third time, also the incident? Was it something that built up, or did they go back and say, let's look at the film. Oh, he's been doing this over and over again.
That would be my guess, is he got caught the 7th time, and when they went back to check video logs, they saw that this dude had just been pilfering stuff multiple times. I can't imagine a business would let somebody come in there multiple times too. And to a point you just made, it's not even just about the money. In today's world of product endorsement from players and stuff like that, I promise you, if Ryan Rollins needed this stuff and he had gone to whoever manages the Alexandria Target, and said, I will do some fucking Facebook promotions for you, or, I'll tweet about how great your store is if you give me some free body wash, like, we're good to go. Or, I need my ice cream, or whatever he was taking, like, detergent. It's just so random that this couldn't have been a thing he needed to do. That's all. So it's got to be.
No, yeah, it's definitely for the thrill. It's something that he's chasing for the thrill. And when you have and with an organization with a player like that has those type of issues, you can't risk that.
Yeah.
Because that thrill turns into something bigger. Money doesn't help your problem. Sometimes it brings out the person you naturally are anyway, and it multiplies the person you naturally are, right?
Yeah.
So if he's a petty thief right now, next thing you know, he's gonna be stealing players' cars.
Right. Yeah.
Like, player come out of practice, where's my car?
Yeah.
It's missing, But I mean, it's so you got to nip that in the bud, because that's a deeper issue than, first of all, what you can handle. Second of all, it's just going to affect the team, and then the type of the caliber of player he is on the roster. Why deal with it?
Yeah, if you're an all-star, you're getting away with this probably, and they're going to help you get counseling or whatever else it is you need. If you're the twin man,
John Morant can possibly pull a gun on somebody once or twice, but you can't. You better not steal no deodorant.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I've seen a couple people try to break down, like, well, he made $1.7 million, but half of it goes to taxes, and this percent goes to an agent, and this goes to an account. Like, there's no world in which they needed that. And honestly, there are plenty of people that will give you a loan based on future earnings if you're in that bad a way. So,
I mean, if you made 1.7, what 1 year?
Yeah, for this season.
Your agent can easily go get you a loan.
Yeah, or float you themselves, probably. Honestly,
right. I mean, there's loans out there for athletes all the time. They know you can make that money. You can eat. So it's no issue for your agent going to get a loan. I've gotten loans as a basketball player before I made a big contract. When I first got drafted, it was a lockout. Agent instantly went and got me a $300,000 loan. It's that easy, right, for players.
And it's future earnings, and I've got this much guaranteed money, and they'll front you, and it's no big deal. Right. So this was clearly about the thrill and being bored, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised by talking to, especially like current NBA players, how much downtime guys actually seem like they have. And when I've tried to organize interviews for this podcast and things like that, it's like, oh yeah, I was just going to play video games all night tonight anyway, or that kind of thing. And I guess you're on the road a lot of the time, and you're in a hotel room, and teams probably don't hang out as much these days as they probably did in the past, or at least not all teams. So I guess, can you talk to that a little bit about just like how much free time you actually get as an NBA player and that sort of thing?
You have a lot of free time. Think about it. You go to practice maybe from 10 to 12, 10 to 1. If that, right? So once you get out of practice, the rest of the world is at work. So you really can't find anybody else to hang out with. That's why a lot of guys say, why he has an entourage? Because he can't find anybody else to be around.
What else are you going to do?
The rest of the world is at work, right? So during the day is a lot of our free time, right? Then, other than when you have game days, it's so much free time as a player. Then on the road, when you go on the road, practice, and then you had a whole day, the entire day to yourself, right? You may go out with a teammate to go to dinner, or something, but it's so much free time doing as a player, and so much downtime. You just have to figure out how to navigate through life, because it becomes natural, right? So that's why most players just hang around each other. But that can be an issue. Like, but the thing with him is it's not like when he was on the road, who knows? He may was stealing on the road too. Who knows?
Yeah, could be.
I want to give him that if that's not the case, but this has been at the same exact target, over and over again. So this is not the time that he was on the road. This is when he's at home. Just let me go steal from this target.
I can think of a lot of other things I could do to fill some time if I had $2 million to blow and a couple of free hours. And honestly, I don't know that would be very high on the list. So this is like a cry for help. I think like, I remember like the famous shoplifting one is like the Winona Ryder one for any of us over 30. I think you remember that, of her just being bored and stealing shit because she wanted to. Like, that's got to be the situation here to some extent.
One of his cases, I'm curious to see if this has been a thing with him in the past anywhere, like in college at Toledo, or and maybe growing up. Has this been something that always has been going on? Because I've been around a lot of players, especially players from New York.
Okay.
For some reason, New York, everybody thieves in New York. I'm just saying. I don't know what's going on in New York, but all my teammates, if I had a teammate from New York, he will steal your CDs and write his name on it. He will borrow your clippers and give you his old clippers back to you. And and it's always the New York guys. I love my New York guys, but it's just how it goes. It's something.
Culture.
It's the mentality there. You just doggy dog, I guess. Man, so I always end up getting in a fight with my New York teammates for some reason, because it's inevitable that they're going to try to play like pull a slick one on me, pull a fast one and steal, right? Yeah. So it's been situations where I had to break a mirror and put it up through the throat and choke one of them out, man, because it happens.
Yeah.
But what I realized is they can't help it. I mean, I had teammates that literally lost their scholarships.
It's crazy.
Just because they couldn't stop stealing.
Mm-hmm.
They was the one with
LaMelo Ball's middle brother, LiAngelo, I think got in trouble for stealing some stuff at one point too.
China,
and it was after LaMelo Lonzo had already made a big contract too. Like, you don't need to be doing that.
It's never the need.
Yeah.
It's the thrill of, it's the I guess the thrill. Right. But sometimes you got to realize, all right, look, I'm in the NBA. This is a big company. Like, this is business. I have to be a professional. Like, and it's tough sometimes when you're young when you go in the NBA to understand this is a business. All right. I have to learn how to be a professional. Right. It's not overnight, especially when you're making a lot of money. A lot of things are thrown at you fast. And like I said, it can multiply all of your bad things, all of your bad ways. It can multiply them faster if you let it. Right. And so the more confident, the more you feel like you can get away with a lot of things, because things you weren't able to do, you're able to do now. Right. So things are just falling at your feet. And so, since I'll be at my feet, I can treat these things. I can be more casual with a lot of this stuff.
Right.
And what happens is, in your mind, you think you can do anything. You think you're invincible.
Yeah, you get away with everything.
Do dumb shit like start stealing deodorant.
Yeah. That's so crazy to me. And maybe this was less so in your day, but I imagine not. Like, the younger guys I know that play, at least even college sports, when they go places, people want to give you free shit. Like, they want to comp meals. They want to comp drinks. They want you to take stuff from their store and endorse their product if they give you free gear. Like, it's never a need. That's all I want to just keep reinforcing here. I don't know his whole situation, but this is a choice.
Especially in DC. Especially in DC, all type of things happen in DC. There's a lot of clothing designers that's trying to get their clothing out. A lot of new businesses that's popping up. A lot of that, and people are willing. I had so much free stuff. I didn't even have to buy clothes half the time.
Yeah.
Right. So other than like when you had to buy the suits and all that, but it's all and somebody. Well, let me give you a free suit. See if you like it. There's so many things that is literally handed to you. Right. You go to a restaurant, they were like, "Oh, well, I copped this one on you," or and especially the native DC people, like the native DC people from DC. Oh, they take care of those DC guys. Like we went over to Georgetown, And I was at Georgetown, and I felt like I was in the NBA. I can go anywhere and do anything, right? So that was nothing. No, I couldn't even consider it a want. I couldn't even conjure up, hey, I may want something that I don't have. It was, it always fall at your feet then. So just imagine now going to the NBA, and that's triple time. That's quadruple now. Like,
and with Instagram and all that, and TikTok and all this other stuff, it's free endorsement.
You can market yourself to get free things.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Local deodorant company that's coming out with a new deodorant. Let me figure this out so I won't have to go to Target. I keep harping on deodorant because I just see that's one of the things he's just doing silly shit and stealing that. But like you said, this is more of a deep rooted issue.
Yeah, for sure. I hope he gets some help. I get $600,000 of guaranteed money next year, so he's talented enough. Someone will take a shot on him. He'll end up on a two-way or whatever it is. I can't imagine this ends his NBA career. He's talented enough that someone will get him a shot. It's relatively a victimless crime, so I think that's easier for somebody to say, all right, he got some counseling and we figured it out. We'll give him a shot here. That would be my guess. But you mentioned it. He's not a star. He's a fringe guy, and you're really putting yourself at risk when you do that. Alex in the chat here mentioned that Target Loss Prevention keeps a log of theft and waits until you get over $1,000 before making an arrest. In Rollins' situation, he was under $1,000, so I guess they stopped a little short of that, maybe to do him a solid. I don't know.
I wonder if the team knew, because one thing about this, what guys that play in the NBA don't realize. Your team that you play on know everything.
Yeah. They've got guys following you around.
Right. They might not tell you a lot, but then you really don't know. I remember when I went to the Wizards, I played for the Wizards. And after my first year, I got home and talked to my high school coach. He was like, so you did this, did that. I'm like, how you know everything I'm doing?
Yeah, team checks in with me.
He said, they had a private investigator following you the entire season.
Right.
I was like, really? He was like, yeah. He said, just so happened the private investigator that the Wizards hired was a close friend of mine from back in Gary, Indiana.
Oh, no shit. That's a small world.
So everything you did every day, he was following you, and he told me everything you were doing. So
that's crazy.
If I know everything you're doing,
yeah,
the team knows everything you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't the top first round pick. Right. I went 40, 44, 40 something. And they put a private investigator on me.
Yeah. So they got to be doing it. They're probably doing it for everybody at that point.
Probably was just sitting back like, keep on stealing.
Yeah. Right. Make our case for us.
Keep on. Right. We got something for you. When it's our time, when we need to free up something or free a roster spot, we got some leverage.
So that's interesting though too, because his salary was fully guaranteed for this year, but I got to imagine there are clauses in contracts where if you do something detrimental to the team or get caught committing a crime or whatever, I would think there are voids to certain parts of the contract. It's whether they want to pursue it or not, or maybe they have to wait till he gets charged. I don't know if, this is a misdemeanor is enough to do that.
Money to fight that.
Yeah, that's probably
for a team. I think it ended up being more money to fight that.
If you made $100 million, maybe it's different. But because I remember when the Gilbert Arenas thing happened, they wanted to, they talked about if they were going to try to fight to void his contract for the gun stuff, and that's come up with other people, like the Miles Bridges situation, and obviously those are different magnitude than I stole some Tide Pods from Target or whatever, but just so weird. That's really interesting about
air freshness.
Yeah, right. It's really interesting though about the private investigator thing. I've heard that a lot, like pre-draft, of these guys do a real deep, thorough background check of people they drafted, and he's talented a guy, and that Golden State was willing to move on from him. I wonder if they knew something was going on there, or there were already some red flags. I think he could have gone earlier in the draft based on the talent that he had showed. So maybe this was a thing on the background check already. So I don't know. This is a bizarre one. I don't remember this situation happening at any point in my NBA fandom.
Yeah, when teams draft you, they know your entire background. They know you. They do a cavity search. They know your life story. So it may have been some red flags.
Mm-hmm.
You bringing them in, and then you could tell by persons how they kind of move, their personality, how if they a slippery type of to themselves type. Then you really even have to dive deeper into those type of kids a lot. So I'll be surprised if there's not something that they didn't know about before.
Yep, agreed. Joe Swam said in the chat he likely needs some help to blow up this opportunity for something like that. There's clearly some type of issue. I hope he gets the help he needs. We agree. Caleb says it's unfortunate here because he was probably going to get some real minutes here soon. Yeah, I think after the trade deadline, this was probably one of the first guys in line to see their role ramp up. So just the timing for him is really tough. So yeah, good luck to him and wherever he ends up.
But also something like this usually can get brushed under the rug too, if you wanted it to.
Yeah, agreed. If they saw enough talent there, they could have let this one go or work something out with Target, not to press charges.
Right. So if you saw enough talent there, this could have been something that never would have came out.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's true.
I think it may have been they use it for. I think they could have used it for a little bit of beneficial to free up some room, or listen, man, it's the NBA. They got enough power to make happen what they want to happen. And hey, we're gonna be quiet. We're gonna call you in. We're gonna have a meeting with you. Right, we're gonna have a big meeting with you, and be like, we know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. As soon as they heard it, if they wanted to,
right, if they wanted to. So
I've heard some very sketchy stuff happen within the walls of this organization that will never hear the light of day, I think, and that's because the team doesn't want it to. So I think you nailed it. If this got out, they clearly didn't care, and maybe they're okay with they probably got beat up so much the last 3 or 4 days that for making this decision to move on from him, that it's like the timing is a little weird that 3 days later, suddenly there's reporting on his criminal activity here.
That's what I was thinking about the timing. The timing is too convenient.
Yeah. If we heard it 2 months later, maybe that's, that's one thing, but. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like we mentioned.
And remember, the NBA is a media company as well.
Yep.
Yeah. All the information starts with them. It may not end, but it definitely they're gonna get ahead of everything.
You hear stories from players, team executives, all kinds of stuff about when David Stern was around. Like he would call you personally and be like, "Hey, I heard you did X, Y, or Z. What the heck are you doing? What are you thinking?"
Right.
I don't know that Adam Silver is doing that kind of the same hands-on way, but to your point, they know what's up. Like it's the CIA might not know as much about you as the NBA does.
Oh, you know how many meetings players go to that even people on their team don't know about unless they say something.
Right. Yep.
They literally flying to New York and flying back about an incident that happened that no one knew about. You know how it goes. Like you said, call you on the phone. It's serious. They nip things in the bud really fast. Right. So
smart when you're a billions of dollar industry, you got to. It's information business, like you said. That's a good point.
Right.
So to fill that roster spot, the Wizards went out and added 5-year NBA veteran Hamidou Diallo to a 10-day contract, per The Athletic once again. So The Athletic crew is killing it right now with the reporting. Shout out to them. Diallo spent 5 seasons with Oklahoma City and Detroit. Mentioned that obviously that OKC stop was while Will Dawkins was there, and he kind of fits the mold of player they like, athletic guys, with some potential. Diallo just never really had like the finer, tools to his game or skills sharpened to really latch on. Kind of an undersized wing who didn't really shoot, pass, or dribble, which is unfortunate, but he's averaging about 19 points a game for the Capital City Go-Go this year, so maybe he's kind of turned a corner. Wes Unseld said of the move, instead of Diallo. He's a high level energy. He defends. He plays downhill. He plays with force. He can be very disruptive, very active. He's got positional size, which I think is great. He's improved his 3-point shooting. So we'll see if this turns into a longer, contract. At the very least, it's a reason like for guys want to come to your G League team. Hey, we will get you 10 days. We will get you paid for a couple $100,000 to come here. Like it's actually kind of smart to build up your G League staff like that. So I'm not mad at them trying to do that. I heard a couple people ask why he couldn't be on a 2-way contract. Just for clarification, if you've played more than 4 years in the NBA, you're not eligible for a 2-way. He has played 5 years. So if they want to keep him around, it's either give him a vet minimum for the rest of the season or string out another 10-day after this. So kind of see how it goes. Any thoughts on Diallo so far, Jahadi?
I like Diallo. I like them in Kentucky. I like them in Detroit.
Yeah.
I didn't really get a chance to really see him much in OKC. I like you say, he is a very physical, downhill, active player. He can jump out the gym. He can jump out the gym. He's bouncy as hell. Yep. Bouncy, goes to the basket aggressive, try to dunk on you. He is that type. He has some showmanship as far as entertaining game. I do hope that he has really improved on his 3-point shooting. And
he has not. Just unfortunately to burst that bubble, it has not gotten any better.
I was hoping because if he so what to me his limitations are dribbling, not
basketball skill,
great ball handling. Not a great ball handler, not a great 3-point shooter, right? Yeah. Getting to his, to me, I do notice he can get to his spots and pop.
Yeah,
shoot a quick, penetrating pop, right? If he can expand his game, he plays with a lot of energy, right? He plays
which
almost
good for
to
this
me
team.
He plays to me with like a Russell Westbrook type of energy.
Yep.
Right, which is definitely helpful.
Sure.
He can grow his game and fix his weaknesses. He can really make an impact because I think the only reason he hasn't grown to the player he can because he's not focusing on his weaknesses enough.
Yeah, I wonder what his like off-season, development program is like and things like that. If this is kind of where we're seeing, he's a career 27% 3-point shooter in the NBA. That's obviously not great, but not like, I don't know. It doesn't mean you're beyond help. Ladarius's comment in the chat here that he's at 17% from 3 so far this year in the G League. That's pretty rough. Even if you threw it backwards over your shoulder, you could probably make 10% of them. So that's a hard stat to overcome, I think. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not mad at it though. Like, just give him a try. You see how it works. There's nothing committing you to doing this longer term. If it doesn't really work out, like I said, he is averaging 19 points, so he's found some other ways to score. I think that's one nice thing at the very least. If you're not able to shoot it, okay, great. But yeah, so far, just not the shooter that we would have liked to see. So we'll see how that progresses. I'm excited. I think you're at the point in the year where you just need like fresh athletic legs sometimes, and maybe he'll challenge guys in practice, and we'll see what the rest of that looks like. Yeah. Couple other stats for you here just to shift gears a little bit. This was a stat I saw posted the other day. It came from Synergy stats that the 10 most efficient pick and roll scorers so far this NBA season. Tyus Jones, number 1. Number 2, Emmanuel Quickly, Giannis Antetokounmpo 3, Terry Rozier 4, Jamal Murray 5, Tyrese Halliburton 6, Derek White 7, Kawhi Leonard 8, SGA 9, DeMar DeRozan 10. So Tyus Jones, the number 1 most efficient pick and roll scorer so far in the NBA this season. That's crazy to me.
It's not surprising if you watch him.
Number 1 though.
Look at the numbers. Okay, pick and roll score, right? Sure. Score not the pick and roll. Mm-hmm. It's not surprising. The floater is 100%.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's really good at that.
And
He
that's
shot the ball
usually
pretty
what
well
he's
today.
doing out of pick and roll.
Yeah.
It's always the floater. That's
Mhm.
that's like Iceman George Gervin floater. He got like it doesn't get enough credit,
Yeah,
right? You got an
that's true.
Iceman floater, man.
It makes it rain.
Um,
Yeah, I love it.
yeah. And that's usually all you doing that little 15-footer
Mm.
jump shot, right? Which is pretty much solid too.
Yep.
Tyus Jones, what's his field goal percentage? I bet he has one of the highest field goal percentage under Gafford.
It is up there. I will tell you. I have it handy here. Actually, Tyus Jones overall field goal percentage is 53 or 52.6%. Yeah, that's one of the better ones on the team of people that actually play. Pretty much. Let's see. Let's just run through them real quick. Kyle Kuzma is at 46% from the field. Jordan Poole 41%. Tyus Jones 52.5%. Denny Avdia about 50%. Coulibaly 48%. Daniel Gafford 68%. Corey Kispert 48%. DeLon Wright 37%. Landry Shamet 45%. Danilo Gallinari 43%. Mike Muscala 37%. And realistically, everyone else after that doesn't really play. So yeah, number 2 of the guys that actually get minutes on the team.
Yeah, so he almost has a big man field goal percentage.
And that is, just to be clear, that is just his overall field goal percentage. If you do like effective field goal percentage and things like that, he's over 60%, which is also second on the team right now. So
yeah,
also pretty good.
He doesn't put up a lot of shots.
Yeah,
but I mean, he get about
10 a game.
nine touches a game, maybe.
Yeah,
which
he's
is
averaging
not a
10
lot,
field goals.
especially for a point guard. Right? I'm give and take. Not a lot, especially for a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
But on those 9, he's always effective.
Yeah, I think so.
So I didn't expect, like I said before, I didn't expect Tyus Jones to end up being a scorer for us at all.
Yeah, not like this,
right?
For sure.
But he ends up being more of a effective scorer than he is a point.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, so I'm not surprised at all about him being number 1 in top pick and roll scorers in the NBA.
He's shooting 43% from 3 from the field, and he's actually been hotter than that recently. A lot of commentary in the chat. Got Josue and Chris Campbell and Jimmy Go Outside and Asif Stripe all talking about Tyus and his ability to score and what we could get out of him. And I think that's going to be interesting from a trade perspective, right? If I'm an NBA team and I need a guy right now to come in and provide some stabilizing ball handling, some facilitation, and some efficient scoring, I would definitely consider Tyus Jones. The problem, I think, for the Wizards comes back is what do you really get in return? Because this is a guy that probably can't be a starter for a team. He likes, probably has to be a backup, but he wants to be a starter. So is he going to resign in a place that already has like a locked-in starting point guard? That's going to be questionable. And if you don't think he's going to resign with your team next year, you're only going to give up so much to get him. So I think that really caps what the Wizards can get back from him in a trade. And that's going to be kind of the problem. Like, he should get you a first round pick back from somebody, but are you actually going to end up getting it? I'm a little skeptical and think we end up with like the Rui Hachimura trade from last year, where it's a distressed asset and 3 second round picks or something like that. And that's kind of my guess.
I don't know if he's much of a starting point guard.
I don't think he'd start anywhere in the league except San Antonio, and that's where his brother plays. So I don't see that either.
I think he's more of an undersized too.
Yeah, actually, I think that's fair.
And so I think you have to bring him off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to bring him off the bench and have him with another point guard, and both of them switch turns, bringing that ball up.
Yep.
Right.
I like that.
And then if you do a lot of pick and roll plays, because he's great out the pick and roll, he just is.
Yep.
Right. You do a lot of pick and roll system, then you have him bring that ball up. But then you need another real point, because if you hit it to the corner to Tyus, he's knocking that down.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? He's knocking down 3-pointers. He's knocking down anything that's opposite of the defense.
Yep.
Usually. So he's an effective scorer. I don't know how many shots you would really try to get him, but as far as a facilitator, he's decent.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't turn the ball over a lot, but he's not threading any needles. He's not seeing, like, he doesn't have Chris Paul eyes.
Yeah,
He's not
his 5
controlling.
assists. Yeah, his 5 assist games are kind of straightforward assists, I think, mostly.
Yeah, just straight stuff. He's not deceiving defenses, right? He's not deceiving, right? So his is just, okay, let me find this little open spot, right? Let me be able to, be effective in it. He uses the offense to figure out what he can get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So I don't know. We'll see what that looks like. I think that's going to be really big for them, is what they net, what they net in a trade for Tyus. I don't think he's here past the deadline. Personally, it would be a very Wizards move to not trade him and then have him not resign here and lose that for nothing. Like I can't.
Or you could put him on the bench and have him come off the bench with Corey. I think he'd be good with Corey.
I think he would. If he's not going to want to take a bench role, he's probably not going to want to take a bench role on a bad team. If he's going to be stuck on the bench, he probably wants to win somewhere. Would be my guess.
He's not a starter in the NBA on most teams.
I agree with you. The only team looking at it, I think he's probably better than their starting point guard is San Antonio, where the starting point guard is Trey Jones. And does he want to get traded to a place where he basically replaces his own brother? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't see the market for that. I'm sure that's what he wants. It's just, if you're going to get stuck off the bench, are you going to come do it on the shittiest team in the league, or are you going to go be a bench player in Milwaukee or something like that? That would be my guess if I were him.
Well, in the end of the day, he's going to have to figure it out, because one option he doesn't want is not playing at all in the league, right? So
yeah, I'm with you.
You got to realize not only who you are, but what they perceive you to be.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of these other, by all accounts, he's like a good dude and a good teammate. I can't imagine him making too many waves. It's, we'll see come contract time, but people every day on Twitter tweet something related to the Wizards about, man, it's crazy that John Wall isn't on an NBA team right now. And we talked about this when we had Tom Thomas on. Those are the kind of guys that teams aren't gonna make a move to get. They're older, the veteran minimum is more for them. And are they going to accept that role off the bench? And it just, if you're Tyus, at some point you might be like, I love being a super sub, that makes you more valuable to a bunch of teams, I would think.
It does. And it prolongs your career. In the end of the day, it's going to be a crossroads where he's going to have to make that decision anyway. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it's coming up. But as the player, you understand. You got to understand now. Let me see. I was effective. I was effective in putting up numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Just the field goal percentages on pick and rolls. I can use that to my advantage in my contract negotiations. Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what is the team looking for? Because he's not the ultimate facilitator. He's not a Trey. You know what I'm saying? He's not a LaMelo Ball, right? It's just he's going to give you more. He's going to give you more efficiency in scoring than he will be not a needle threader.
No, yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's like he's a better player than this, but the role that Bryn Forbes played a couple years ago for Milwaukee, where he just came off the bench as basically a 6-foot shooting guard, and he came in, he provided some decent assists. He handled the ball when Drew Holiday wasn't out there, and he knocked down threes, created some offense for other people by collapsing the defense and kicking it out. That kind of guy. Any playoff team could use that guy, and I think it's the role for him. And honestly, this is the question for Kyle Kuzma, trade deadline wise too. Is he going to be okay coming in and playing the role that this team wants him to play? And I don't know that he is. I think this is the reason why he probably doesn't want to get traded. Is he likes being the guy. And if you go to a playoff team, you're probably the third or fourth best offensive player on most of these teams.
He's been there.
Yeah, he's done that already. Does he want to go back to being the sixth man on the Lakers or the fifth starter or whatever and be more 3-and-D and things like that? They're not going to let you have the ball 30% of the game. It's just not going to happen. So
that's a tough decision to make. I think that's why Bill stuck around so long.
Yeah, being the dude. Yeah.
The dude in the NBA is great. Is a great position to be.
It's good life. Yeah.
The dude on the NBA team is a great position to be in. It's an amazing.
I wouldn't mind it.
Everybody would want to be the dude on the NBA team. I've seen it. Yep. Right. And and that's something that's hard to give up.
Yeah.
Right. But toward the middle of your career and after a while, you're like, okay, how long does being a dude last? What does it do for my legacy?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it might do something for your legacy locally, but as far as the NBA banner and organization, no one's talking about Kyle Kuzma. I don't hear him talking about him right. You don't hear him talking about Kyle Kuzma on Inside Edition, or that's probably not around anymore. But TNT,
right?
Right?
He's not coming up inside the NBA. There you go.
Yeah, he's not coming up. Yeah, inside the NBA. It's not. He's
Does
not
Charles
coming
Barkley
on.
even know what team Kyle Kuzma is on right now?
Right. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what he's looking at every day. Like, wow, my name is not getting mentioned in these circles. My name is not getting mentioned among the best. Right. I'm probably on billboards all over DC.
Sure.
The Metro bus, I'm probably on there with a basketball. But in the big scheme of things, at the big picture, I'm becoming, obsolete in the world of the top of basketball. And even when he was on the Lakers, even though he was, probably the person who like third person to touch the ball behind LeBron or Kyrie or whoever was there at the time. You heard his name 3 times as much.
Yeah, I think so. At least nationally for sure. Yeah.
He's going to come to that crossroad in that situation to where he's going to be like, you know what, I want to be on the big stage. I want to make an impact. I want rings. He's seen rings. He has a ring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has one ring with the Lakers. Yeah.
Right. So it probably must make him comfortable, like already been there, done that. But there's going to be a point that he wants to do that again.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be.
Right.
And it could be, you could do this for another 2 years with the deal you have. And honestly, that's probably why this is what I think happens. He's got a descending contract. It's going to be even more valuable in 2 years. Some playoff team is going to throw you a boatload of money for a guy that's not going to cost them a lot of long-term money. And he's the break in case of emergency guy. If somebody gets hurt or Bobby Portis or somebody goes down for Milwaukee right before the deadline in 2025, that's an easier pill to swallow. If we just got to pay him another year and a half, like you can do that. This, I've got to give you now 3.5 more years. It's a tougher thing to do. He's going to be relegated. Does he want to do that? They're probably not going to trade him if he doesn't want to go unless they get a boatload of a return for him. And I don't know that you're going to get a boatload of return for him. This reporting that they want multiple first-round picks, like who are the teams that are going to trade multiple first-round picks for Kyle Kuzma right now? I don't see it.
I don't know any team that do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, he's not that guy to, trade multiple first-round picks for. But then Kuzma still got a lot of upside.
Yep. I think so too. I think he keep getting better. The problem is he's been shitty the last couple of weeks for the most part. Like the play has dropped off significantly. I don't know if it's the knee thing. That would be weird if that lower body injury was causing this still, but it does sort of fit timeline-wise of he's become kind of a chucker, unfortunately, recently. This is my dude. That's my favorite player on the team. I feel bad saying it, but honestly, I've not loved the shot selection. The defense has been less, and it wasn't even that great this year to begin with. And the playmaking is kind of like dropped off for the most part too. I don't know, maybe not totally, but it just seems like he's in me mode. And you talked about this last podcast of guys doing their own thing, keeping their numbers up, stuff like that. Hopefully that gets better after the deadline. But still a month away, and that's a long time to watch bad basketball. So I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, but he got a lot of pressure on him. I mean, he got a lot of pressure. Anything that happens to the team is going to be his fault. He got to put the entire team on his back.
Yeah, he's never had to be the guy before.
You have all. Yeah. Say what? Say it again.
I mean, he's never had to be the guy. He's never had to be the guy for an NBA team the whole time before. That's a lot to ask.
Right. So now you say he's a chucker, but he now has to put everything on his back, and then anything that goes wrong is going to fall on his shoulders. So you're like, if it's going to fall on my shoulders anyway, then I'm going to. If the ship falls, it's going to fall with me, and if it floats, it's going to float with me. right? And to me, the only other player that it seemed like he really, really trusts is Denny.
Yeah, they have the best two-man chemistry of the team, I think, honestly.
That's true. And you're right. You're right.
It's going to be interesting.
Just on another subject,
the trade deadline is going to be a big one for Wizards fans. One of the questions we got. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think we.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. No, go ahead. Go ahead, say it. I was about to say something about Bilal Coulibaly. Like, he does need to start being more aggressive out there. He's losing his value and his momentum of, just how he's playing, and it's going to have to be on him.
Yeah, like at what point do you? I mean, I get that he's an unselfish player. He learned to play basketball the right way, but still, at some point, you got to be like, I'm out here 25 minutes a game, 28 minutes a game. Like, I'm going to take the ball and just do me. Like,
I got to make this an effective 25. No, but he's not that. See, the thing is, he's never been that type of player. He's always been like a system guy, guy to do what's best for the team, guy to just kind of get his way. Let me get without shaking any leaves.
Yep.
But for him to grow and for him to be a better player, he's going to have to be more aggressive, and he's going to say, hey, I'm willing to make some mistakes to be able to change my mindset. So right now he's stuck in a particular mindset, and he's going to have to and that's the one instance he's going to have to kind of grow into an NBA mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm totally with you. Along those lines, one question we sort of routinely get, Sean asked it, Richie Parker asked it, is when will there be a change to the starting lineup? Like at what point have we seen enough of this? They're 6-31 right now. And other than with a few cases for injury, they've started the same 5 guys for the vast majority of that time. Like at some point as a head coach, don't you shake this up? Don't you try some different combos? Like I don't understand why this is what we've seen the entire time. Like, why be so married to this 5 and this 5 only?
What combos else are there?
I'd put Bilal in starting 5 and just see what happens.
I would do that too. Only difference what I see is I would put Bilal where Poole is.
Yeah.
But I don't know, and I just would, because Bilal also he's really have a lot of point guard. He was a point guard over in France.
Yep.
So
right.
So two wouldn't be that bad. Him playing a 2 wouldn't be something so out of sync.
Yep. And that's what you want to see from him in the future anyway, right? So see if he can do it now.
Right. So I would definitely do that. But as an owner, I just can't imagine all of that money sitting on the bench. That's what people got to realize. I paid this dude all this money. He gonna entertain. I hate to say it like that, but at the end of the day, right? Like, he gonna entertain this crowd. If I got that much money, I can't put all that money on the bench. I just cannot. Right. But other than that, do we gain anything by what I in the draft by if we keep losing?
They're second in terms of lottery position right now. I think realistically, as long as you're in the top 4, your odds are pretty much kind of washed out at that point. So you definitely need to be in the bottom 4. Beyond that, it kind of just solidify a top 4 pick. That's honestly it. Like if you're in the top 4, you're not really falling out of that. So I think they're probably pretty safe to be fighting for.
It might be fighting for that position too.
Yeah, it's true.
It's
a bad
so
when playing your vets locks you into the worst record at that point.
We losing playing our best players or the players we playing the most already. Yeah. So what do you do now? Say let's get some guys off the bench and then go on a 5-game winning streak.
Right.
And then now we're not able to, build for the future as much as we were able to before if we don't if we do lose those games, it's a catch-22.
That's what this team has historically done, especially under Tommy Shepard. And it's the reason that Shaden Sharp is not on the Wizards roster right now and Johnny Davis is. So they came in and they went on a little run at the end of the year when the games didn't matter because, pride and all this other kind of stuff and win now. And, like at this point, I think this front office gets it. They just got to be fucking bad and be as bad as they can. And, but still, you could be bad and play Bilal a few more minutes with the starters or get him a few reps against the other team's best player, right out of the gate.
Bilal wouldn't change the dynamic that much that we go on a winning streak.
I don't think so. Yeah, I agree.
Right. But they know that he's very good at defense. So he doesn't offer the scoring that Poole could offer, but Poole is so inconsistent. It may be days, but I think personally, you do put Bilal in the starting lineup to give him more confidence, get him to be more aggressive, get him to where we need him. And I don't think it changes that much of things to the point that where we don't go in a crazy winning streak where we take ourselves out of getting a good lottery pick.
I just want Bilal to get the most meaningful reps possible. And the first year, letting Rui guard Kawhi Leonard and LeBron and things like that, all we talked about was how meaningful those minutes are. And now we don't seem to give a shit about those minutes about a guy, in my opinion, who has a much higher ceiling. And it's not I'd rather him play 20 meaningful minutes where he got on-ball reps and he guarded the other team's best guy than 29 minutes of him playing, just getting cardio and hiding in the corner. So I don't know how you fix that. I'm not saying he has to be starting him. And it's just got to be some way to get him more involved, at least.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. And that's the right thing to do. I 100%. But even in the minutes he's getting, he's not utilizing them well.
No, I agree. He's got to be more proactive.
Yeah, he got to be more proactive. Exactly. He's not utilizing them well. So I'm like, now do I force him to say, hey, you got to give you more minutes and you got to, I would. I'm like, look, first of all, you're not utilizing the minutes you have correctly. Right now, look where we are. You got to be more aggressive. You got to yell for the ball. You have to catch it, ready to do something with the ball, right? Mm-hmm. At this point, as a coach, I'd be like, look, I expect you to at least take 12 shots a game.
Yeah.
You should have at least 12 shots a game. And out of those 12 shots, at least 3 to 4 of those are three-pointers.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I need you to drive. I need you to penetrate. I need you to catch to do something, to get downhill.
Yep.
I need you to rebound much more, rebound putbacks, right?
Pick and roll ball handler, pick and roll roller, all screener. Just every way you could eventually use him in the future.
Every way
Try it now.
Possible. Yeah. Because he's a smart player.
Yeah.
So he's gonna pick up things just off natural causes if he keep doing them over and over again. If it's just off repetition, he's gonna pick them up, right? Because he's going to dissect the floor.
I'm with you.
Everything doesn't come training, teaching him the skills and working on the skills and working over in the game, because everything is not game. Everything you do in skill training is not. You don't know what the game is spontaneous. Anything can happen in the game at any moment. You got to be able to make those micro decisions and react right away and make that decision and do it. Right. So let's put you in a situation where you have to figure out how to make those micro decisions right now at a split second. And it have to be correct decision. And you have to score out of that situation.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone's suggesting fully take the training wheels off. I mentioned this to a friend of mine, Bryce Simon from the Game Theory podcast. He and Sam Vecini talked about it on their podcast last night. And Sam's comment was well, we can't give Bilal more usage. One, because he's not totally ready. And two, because the NBA is a meritocracy and, they would blow up the locker room to just give him minutes that aren't earned. But my pushback to that is, how do we know they're not earned? If you're a defensive coach and you're talking about guys playing defense, it's a reward the big man kind of thing. Let's give him some touches because we feel good about the way he played defense. And by the way, he's been pretty effective offensively. We mentioned the shot attempts. He averages 6 shot attempts a game in 26 minutes.
How aren't they earned? He earned every
Right.
single. He's getting 25 because he earned that.
Yeah, I agree. So that's my pushback.
Right? They're definitely earned. Now, for it being a meritocracy, absolutely.
Sure.
But for my future and my team, I'm getting Bilal ready to be able to handle anything that comes.
None of these guys are going to be here next year anyway. I mean, not none of them, but very few of them. And Denny's not going to be the guy to rock the boat.
It's not going to make the world spin on his axis in reverse.
Yeah, because you got him 10 shots instead of 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And by the way, if you're talking about credibility from a coaching staff, like, oh, we can't justify giving the rookie more shots. Your highest paid player, your starting shooting guard, is like the least efficient player in the entire NBA right now. So he still has the ultimate green light, though. Like, we haven't changed that. As a player in the locker room, I'd be more concerned about that. If I'm Landry Shamet and I'm doing everything right and I'm shooting efficiently, I'm playing defense, and I'm only playing 15 minutes a game, and I'm the best two-way guard on the team, I'd be looking at these other people like, this effing guy is still getting, 20 shots a game? Like, really, we're doing that? I don't know. That's just me. I'd be more concerned about that than the rookie. Yeah.
It's timing. If Landry Shamet was on Golden State, if you switched Landry Shamet and put him on Golden State at the same time Jordan Poole was on there.
Yep.
He probably would have had the same contract right now, too. It's just timing. It's the right place at the right time. It's right. But the difference is Landry Shamet will probably still be on Golden State.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
You just fit in. Yeah.
Right now, you're looking at two guys, and you're like, Landry is much more effective than Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
He takes the game more serious. Right? But now Jordan is more of a natural scorer, but he doesn't. He doesn't take the game the way he approaches the game kills it.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. So you'd rather have Landry any day. Right. But so it's just all about timing. Jordan was in the right place at the right time. And he did the right thing at the right moments.
Yeah, he showed enough upside and potential that people could convince themselves that this is a guy that has a bright future, and he's the next SGA, he's the next Gilbert Arenas. And
he fooled us all.
I'm always the don't write people off, patience, guys get better. He's still only 24 guy, but the ship seems to be sailing, every day a little bit more. Like, I guess he was good offensively the night. I'll be very candid, everybody. If you're like gauging by the topics, I only watched recaps of this game. I was in Mexico all week, so I've not locked in as much as I would normally be over the regular, course of a week. But it seems like Poole was okay offensively a couple times over that stretch, and that's fine. But it's still like you said, the overall approach to the game: inefficient offense, bad shots, no defense, not much playmaking.
But when Poole plays well,
they don't win.
Well, yeah. But when Poole plays well,
yeah,
Kuzma doesn't usually play well. Denny doesn't usually play well. You notice that?
Yeah, there's not seem to be a lot of sync there. Yeah.
Yeah, on the days that he has a good game, everyone else has a bad one.
Yeah, it's true. It did. Yeah, it breaks the offense. There's
sometimes when Kuzma plays well, Denny still can have a great game.
Yeah, everybody else plays better. It's do you make a team
other than Poole.
Right. Other than Poole, right? Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are very few instances of them both being like good. There have been a couple where they both scored a lot, but it was inefficient and no one else did anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that situation down the stretch here. Just looking at last thing on Bilal, Chase Hughes of Monumental Sports tweeted this one. I just thought it was worth mentioning here. It's rookies in terms of stocks, so steals and blocks combined. Victor Wembanyama has 101 blocks, 37 steals. That's 138 total stocks. That leads the NBA leads all rookies, but it leads everybody in the NBA, which is crazy. Chet, 93 blocks, 23 steals, 116 overall. Ausar Thompson is at 71 overall. Derek Lively, 60 overall. And Bilal Coulibaly is 59th or is in 5th place with 59 overall. So top 5 of rookies in sort of key defensive markers there. It tracks, right? Like that's what we see. He gets deflections. He gets his hand on the ball. He's swatting people. He's weak side shot blocking. Like I love that. I want to see more of that from him. Unleash him.
Yeah, but you gotta. Bilal's falling in the same trap that Kuzma's falling in too. If you don't read those stats, you would never know that, right?
I don't know. I see him do a lot of shit.
Would. I'm just saying, like
he's that high up.
Anybody out of the Wizards, out of any Wizards fans, or anybody who understands the team, would know that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yes,
right.
No one would know that outside of Washington.
To me, that's what hurts him right now.
Yeah. That he's here. Yeah, probably so.
Right. So to me, okay, you go out. You like you said, you got to get more. I would give him more time.
Yep.
Right. I would give him more time to first to expose all the good things that he's doing, because that's only going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
If he's getting all of that with 25 minutes per game, right?
Yep.
The scoring has dropped significantly. His rebounding has dropped significantly, which it shouldn't. Yep. But that would be an incentive for him to go and be more free. I think he's playing too robotic and trying to be a system and please too many other guys. He has to be more of a you got to have more fucking in him.
I'm with you. I like just a little bit more. You know, you made
tough.
The point.
It's tough sometimes to get that when you never have. Wembanyama always had to have that in him, right?
Right.
Because he's always
kind of guy for
right. He gotta look for new ways to get more. Where can I find more fucking? Where anybody found some, I'm going to church it out, right?
Yep.
Those typical role type of players that's kind of almost like program and systemized, it's hard for them to even put themselves in a place because they're so unselfish.
But that's not the right basketball play. Yeah,
right. It's hard for them to put themselves in they're so uncomfortable in that position. They can't even find out how to step into it. and he has to, because now the lack of it is starting to expose certain things and starting to affect his game and starting to affect his value.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's such a different player that we've seen. These foreign players are different now, man. You know, like they showing us so many different games. They're actually making basketball refreshing again.
Dude, I feel the exact same way. I've loved a lot of the FIBA stuff. One, there's some playing out of the post and inside out, things like that, which is cool too. But guys trying to do the right stuff is shockingly fun to watch. I mean, like,
right.
Everybody shits on college basketball because the guys are less talented, and it's basically you're expecting guys to miss instead of make open shots a lot of the time. But there are like college basketball teams that play the right way, you know, and things like that. And they can be more fun to watch. Even if guys aren't making shots, they're playing team basketball and sharing and being unselfish.
Like
yeah, like, you know, those teams the last couple of years, like just ball screen continuity offenses and you know, like that's great. Play it out of the post a little bit. Like you know, if I were the Wizards, I would be just leaving a scout in France right now and just be figuring out, hey, Bilal, which one of your teammates do you know, your national team teammates, do you think we should be taking next?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's honestly like part of the reason Bilal's stock rose the way it
did
too.
Australia too.
Yeah. All right. Alexar down there, another French guy playing down in Australia too. Like that's Wembanyama talking about Bilal should be a top 5 pick in this draft, I think made people go back and take another look at him. So I would be asking Bilal, hey, you know basketball, which of these French dudes or international guys in general, you play the Spanish teams, like who should we be keeping an eye on? Anyway.
Yep, for
sure. Next couple games here.
American players better watch out because the way we grow with these players with American basketball is completely different. It's going back to we're grooming our players as selfish players.
Mm-hmm.
And the foreign players are coming over here with so many unselfish concepts and
Yep.
seeing the game completely different and everybody, and non-positional,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's making us hard to compete. It is. It just is. I mean, getting our ass kicked when we go to the Olympics. I mean, because of a situation like that. So, and they're playing 3 times as hard as we are. They're not pampered, right? They're playing 3 times as hard, and they've been professionals way younger. They've been professionals since 16 years old.
Yeah, they've been actually coached. It's not AAU where, like, I know you're actually coaching when you're with those guys, but I'm sure you see coaches that have no clue what they're talking about, and they're running these teams. I went to this thing that they do on the Eastern Shore of Maryland here. It was called the Governor's Challenge, a tournament a couple weeks ago, and I was watching a high school team play that had a guy that is 14 years old. He's 7 feet tall. And I think will probably be an NBA player, Akol Nayuk out of Glenelg Country School. And their team was down 4 with 30 seconds left and opted not to foul and just let the other team dribble out the clock. And I'm sitting with my wife losing my absolute mind. Why is this guy why are they not fouling? Like, the players didn't know to do it. The coaches didn't. Finally, like, the 5th assistant coach down the bench was like, you should probably foul with 10 seconds left. It's like, what are we teaching kids if that's a reasonably prominent local program and they don't teach them shit like that?
It's not the kids.
Yeah.
What, you know what? The kid, it should be.
It's both, right?
Your point guard should be like, Coach, should we foul?
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah. I need a point, but it's not even not his. It's not, by that time, it's kind of his fault. Point guard fault, but it's definitely his fault. Right? Like, and the problem with coaches is they have too many yes men around.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? Now coaches don't want to be challenged in their own staff.
I'm the head coach. Yeah. Right. Cool. Thanks, coach.
I'm the head coach. And so, like, now, with that, why is assistant coach so-and-so gone? Oh, because he challenged everything I did. He didn't want to do it through things my way because he knows it's a better way. He's not going to sit here and let you dumb him down.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Sure. He knows the better way, and you're going to clash when he's saying, "Coach, we can do this. Let's try this wrinkle. Let's throw this in there. We're getting beat because of this." And then your ego gets taken over. So now I see a lot of high school coaches, right, who instead of going and making sure they're challenged every day by their assistant coaches and being able to say, "Hey, look, what do you think? What do you think?"
Yep.
What they're doing is just getting a lot of people they know already.
Yeah.
That
other kids' dads. So I'm going to go along with it. Yeah.
Right. They're going to just go along with them.
Yep.
And that's just, anytime I see that, I'm like, this is a one-person program.
It's true. Yeah, you need as many good voices as possible, I would think, to be as successful as you can, and not everybody can know everything.
Person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yep, that's great. That's well said. On the international play for a second, I just saw that the Team USA, I guess, under 18 team was announced, and it's going to include Cooper Flagg and Ace Bailey. We've talked about Flagg before on the show. Jahadi, have you seen Ace Bailey? That's a name that's resonated with Wizards fans a good amount. And any insight on him?
What team did he play with? What school did he
play? I don't know where he plays high school. He's going to Rutgers next year, though. He's the number 2 overall recruit.
Okay, yeah.
Him and Ron Harper Jr.
Yeah, I have seen.
His real first name is Arias. Yeah, he's plays for. He's from Georgia, but he plays for McEwen High School in Georgia. So we'll see him next year. But he's like 6'7", freak athlete, just really like the NBA wing prototype that you want. Right. So it'll be really interesting to see him and Flagg together against this international level of competition and what they look like. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, Jai, I got to pivot away from basketball here for a minute here. I had a special request this week, and I'm getting this in real time as we're going here. Jay, NC to DC asked me about your movie, and we have talked about this on the show here before, but your SyFy original movie. He's like, how have I not heard you guys talk about this? We've brought it up in passing, but he wants to know, what's the backstory? Where did this thing come about? For anybody not familiar, my co-host here is a movie star. He has an IMDb page that's as cool as it gets. You were in a Showdown at Area 51, where you played Cronin the Alien. So how did this come about? Did somebody approach you about this, or did something you wanted to do? Like, what was the deal here?
All right, this movie started in high school.
Okay.
Where I had to work on my footwork. My high school coach, Preston Thomas, was like, "Look, man, we got to get your footwork together."
Okay.
He's like, and so he was like, he found a ballerina teacher.
Okay.
Literally, and I'm sitting here playing with my toes and all that after every practice, doing kicking and all this stuff, right? For my footwork. So somehow he figured out that would get my footwork together. I guess he read on it.
Sure.
My relationship with that ballerina teacher was then I started doing, so then she had dance classes. So then the NBA, I want to keep this up because it's good. So I would, still when I could go home, I would go to her studio and we still work on, footwork and,
all that. Yeah.
It makes your ankle strong, prevent injuries, everything.
That's why you had such a good drop step, right?
Right. Hey, that's why.
Love that.
So ended up, she also was a casting director.
Oh, cool. Okay.
On her side, she did casting director. She was a casting director. And so she was everything that would come through Missouri. And at that time, Missouri had one of those, laws like Atlanta where you can get so much
tax credits and stuff.
Tax credits off anything you film. So when I was in the NBA, or when I don't know if when I retired or when I was in NBA, she called me out of nowhere. It was like, Steve Austin. You know who Steve Austin is? I'm like, yeah. Well, he just down the road that we had, and he said he can't do it because of timing. And did they know that I know anybody who was big? So I have a role for you if you're interested.
Yeah. And
I was like, I'm not. She's like, you should do it. She was like, it'll be fun. You get to do movies. You'll get to see how everything works, blah, blah. And it's only like 20 minutes away from you where they filming it.
It's not bad.
And I was like, well, that ain't bad. Let me try it out. Right. So that's how I started doing it. And then from there, I ended up doing, every time she thought of something, hey, I got a Skittles commercial for you. I have this for you, Johnny Rent, so I was like, all right, cool. So that's how it happened. It wasn't something I was,
seeking out or
trying out for or pursuing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a role that just kind of fell in my hand, and just so happened the ballerina teacher that from high school that taught me when I was in high school to help me, with my footwork, end up being the person later on in life that started putting me in these little roles that I was being put in.
That's cool. Was it a fun experience? Like, did you enjoy doing it? Like, you glad you did?
It was. It was long hours.
Sure.
I mean, you're on a movie set for a long time. It's long hours, and it's different locations. And I mean, you out there all day, and most of it was outside.
Okay.
So, but it was cool to see the development, see how they made something, and by the time you watch it on screen, it looked completely different than where you were.
Right.
So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Have your kids seen this? This is the most important thing. And what do they think about the movie?
I think they have. I'm more because you can't really see my face in the movie.
Sure.
I'm the ultimate bad guy walking, and shooting lasers and got an eye laser. I got some type of little cyclops one eye thing, and right, and they think they killed me by he was in a junkyard in a.
Don't spoil it, John. People got to go watch this now. They got to go watch Showdown at Area 51. It's on the Roku channel, I think. So give that a listen, everybody.
I haven't watched it in a long time, but yeah. Pretty cool.
I've got a few hours until my basketball game tonight. I got to go finally watch this thing.
All right, don't fall asleep on it now. Don't fall asleep.
That's my homework for next time.
It's a definitely a SyFy movie.
Yeah, I love that.
So.
Thank you for telling that. I think that's come up a couple times before. We've talked about it, but we never did the whole story there. So people routinely to mention that one. Did you know your co-host is in a movie?
Yeah, shout out to Kim Swanson.
There you go. Love that, Kim.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, for everybody listening to this, not only is this the only Wizards podcast where a former Wizard hosts the show, it's also the only movie star hosting a Wizards podcast right now too. So
there you go.
All right, Jahadi, that's all I got for you. Anything else you want to leave people with before we get out of here?
Oh, no, man. It was a good show.
All right, everybody. They play Atlanta tomorrow, so we'll see how that one goes. And then the Pistons on Monday at 3 p.m. It's MLK Day, so part of the daily slate of basketball. Got to win that Pistons game, or got to lose that Pistons game. Well,
lose that Pistons game.
Yeah, if you want to cement yourself in the lottery standings, good to lose.
And we got to win that convincingly too.
Yeah, if you don't win that, you're not winning a game for a while, probably. So They play the Knicks, Suns, and Nuggets immediately after that. So things get a little tougher after that Pistons game. So we'll see how that goes. All right, everybody. This has been Believe in Wizards. Rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Click that little like button for us if you're watching on the YouTube. If you're listening to it on audio, leave us a review. Also go back to YouTube and click that little button for us too. Always helps. We appreciate you. And we're presented by betonline.ag, and we'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.